This is probably the worst contestant I've ever seen. There's no clean water to drink. There was very little food to eat. The best meal for him. I didn't think it was weed and bird eggs. Well, I'm lucky if I can swallow it. Probably not as good as roasted termites. Either starve or starve on the way. I wonder, can he do the same? To be able to adapt, to survive in the wild. Ash walks barefoot when she's at home. She thought it might be of some use. I was influenced by my family from an early age. I like to go out and play. Others often because of their beauty. And ignore its strength. I came here to prove myself. She was ready to face it. I don't really care about full nudity. If you change to a certain platform, this will be charged. Let's just say it paid off for the show. And this looks a little like Superman's mic. The preparation for the challenge is much simpler and much more violent. Eating that peanut butter every day. You gain a lot of weight in just a few days. He was confident that he could starve until the 21st day. The biggest problem here is the big temperature difference between day and night. I've never experienced anything like this before. What about all the survival skills he uses? I hope I can use it in a challenge. Mike has one more wish. I just want to feel different environments for my brother. He wasn't alone in the challenge. My brother will bless him to finish. Meet strangers naked. I couldn't even think about it before. I just hope it's not too awkward. Soon the two men came to meet at the meeting point. The first meeting went relatively well. Both sides agree on the level of appearance. I don't know what happens in terms of strength. After a brief exchange, begin the challenge. They're on the African Savannah. Extreme weather combined with harsh conditions. Forget the dangerous creatures here. The lack of water in the dry season alone is hard enough. That's the only puddle around. After a brief discussion, take action. The brambles around are really annoying. We didn't get very far before we started having problems. That makes him a little skeptical of life. There was the sound of an elephant next door. The forward speed is greatly reduced. Now the sun is so strong. I feel like I can smell the barbecue. Elephant tracks are seen ahead. I'm sure we'll find clean water if we follow them. The mud around here really stinks. But I still have to put this putty on my body. Reduce damage from sun exposure. The show gave them a very low rating. Just wanted to see if they could surprise. The temperature here is worse than expected. Already showing signs of dehydration. You can run into big spiders all the time on the road. They didn't bother to deal with it. Just want to get to the water source quickly. They could smell the water. This puddle looks pretty bad over here. You know it just by looking at it. There must be a lot of germs lurking in that water. If you miss this puddle, it's unclear if we'll find any water behind it. Mike felt he couldn't risk his body. After a brief discussion, I still feel that I should continue to travel. Just dehydrated and not solved. Ash has got a little heat stroke here again. Had to stop for a while. She had no idea it was this bad. If this rest continues, they don't have much time to build shelters. Mike told Ash not to worry about it. Have a good rest before you start. He doesn't want to lose his partner on his first day. Now also do not know how to comfort good. The challenge just has to go on. After rest, continue to search for water. Mike didn't know the exact time, but the sun had begun to set there. They really don't have much time. This is the only place we have water right now. We'll have to make do with camping nearby. Fortunately, there was more bushes nearby. Make these into walls. It can also be a little bit of protection against animal attacks. Ash isn't feeling so good right now. He's been dehydrated. There's no way to help gather the materials. The best thing to do now is to rehydrate. This water source is crawling with mosquitoes. Even boiling it may not be safe. They're gonna have to go to the hospital. Ash was pretty torn about it. Like you're gonna fail no matter what you do. It's the first time I've ever felt this bad in my stomach. It's not about getting ahead of yourself. I'm here to cross over. You have to get some rest, or I'm gonna quit the challenge and go home. Mike's feeling the pressure. It's a lot. We need to gather some firewood. We must make a fire to boil water today. I hope your partner can hold out. Ash thinks the fire is still necessary, so try it even if it hurts. It's easier to bring a firearm. At least it'll keep the animals away a little. Mike was thirsty too. I just don't have time to find a container right now. We need to put some walls around it before it gets dark. No one can guarantee absolute safety at night, especially camping near water sources. I feel different at night. I can hear animal noises all the time, just in case they get curious and step on it. Kept an eye on the outside all night. The biggest fear is the elephant. We're not in the same league at all. All they could do was pray that the elephant would drink and go away. The challenge has come to day 2. The mental state is getting worse and worse. It's only been a day. It's like running a triathlon. What is most needed now is rehydration. Ash thinks she can't get any more water. I think I'm about to get dried out. You have to taste the water, even if it's dirty. As long as you don't vomit and diarrhea. Ash can handle it. Mike doesn't really suggest that. If you have to drink it, well, you might want to find one that's relatively clean. Ash smelled the water. It felt really bad. You might as well drink your own. After all, there are traces of animal activity everywhere. The poop alone is enough to make you feel sick. The biggest problem is the lack of containers. Mike had trouble trying to boil the water. Ash was so thirsty. Only drink clean water. Hopefully the UV rays will kill the germs on the surface. She drinks a little water on the surface. I don't think anything's going to happen with that, do I? Mike was more resistant. Just how long can the body go without drinking? With Ash's constant encouragement, Mike finally chose to try it. Although the taste is not very good, but it will replenish the water. The body feels a lot better. When I thought everyone was going to get better. During the night, Ash burst into a howl. Mike has no idea what's going on. I had to call a doctor. Ash's body kept shaking. It's a lot worse than I thought. No matter what you do, it doesn't work. Ash just wants to get out of here. The doctor watched till dawn. Ash doesn't even have the strength to talk. Doctors can only carry people to help. Mike was very worried about it. I don't know if Ash is going to get better. I have to continue to face challenges. The pressure is really intense. Ash was first sent to the tent for help. If it doesn't get better by then, it can only be taken to a local hospital. According to the current examination, probably got sick from the water. So there's a good chance Mike will go down too. For safety's sake, he can't drink that water anymore. It has to be boiled. It was full of confusion about the challenge. I lay alone at night, keep feeling something close. I was so scared I couldn't close my eyes. Worried about an animal breaking in the next minute. On the fourth day in fear. For the first time, Mike realized that water was so important. The lip is beginning to split. I can't even talk right now. I guess no one thought water was the biggest problem. Mike tried filtering through a bag, then used plants as straws to hydrate. That might be a little better. Anyway, it's still possible to get sick, right? It's really one day at a time. The challenge came on day 5. It's just a bunch of plants to eat. Not enough for the body's daily consumption. If I'm lucky, I can pick up some fruit. When it comes to meat, it's the grasshoppers. The whip has thorns on it. You can't kill this without dying. Just a tiny one. Put it on the fire and roast it. It tastes really good. It's like baking bread. I just can't really fill my stomach. The sun is too strong outside. Mike had to rest in the shelter. There are a lot of bugs around, but there aren't many that you can eat. The mosquito kept buzzing in its ears. You'd be crying if you came in here, especially at night. The mosquitoes become more active. Even if there's a fire next door, they just ignored it and flew over. The body burns fat at a rapid rate. Keep this up for a few more days. Suddenly, I heard the sound of animal movement outside. Mike was instantly nervous. If it's a small animal, that's fine. I might even get a chance to hunt for myself. But anything else? And Mike isn't big enough to feed them. It's the only thing that can protect you. I don't think an hour's break is going to be enough. I barely made it to dawn. The state of mind is terrible. I feel like I can call a doctor anytime. Not in Mike's condition. To keep other animals out of shelter. Make a point of putting marks around. I wonder if he didn't drink much water. Is this marker really enough? Mike's mood is getting lower and lower every day. There's a real need for food right now. I just found a frog here. If I can catch it, at least for a few more days. Mike just thought of his brother. Think that frog is him coming to see himself. Emotions that are more and more emo. I have no intention of catching it. Man, you're gonna faint from hunger. The challenge is on its 8th day. Mike's been here a long time. Have you eaten little food? He thinks his mental state is fine. I spent most of my time perfecting the shelter. Not just to stock up on firewood. I was thinking about making the wall higher, so you can sleep at night. There's still plenty of food around. Just trying to hunt to some difficulty. Maybe we can find a way to set some traps. There are many bird tracks nearby, so I'm sure we can do this over here. The bag your partner left behind can be removed and used. Traps are more commonly used and easier to make. 2 sticks are fixed on the ground. Then there was a hook on the tree. As soon as a bird gets inside the noose, it'll trigger it right away to get it up. Mike thinks he's going to wake up tomorrow with a bird. He was in the neighborhood trying to get some more food. Suddenly found a pot in the water. We don't know who stayed behind. It was so lucky. Then you can boil the water with this. Now you don't have to worry about drinking bad stomach. In the process of gathering firewood, I found a bird's egg on it. It's cooked. It'll give you some energy. But Mike couldn't wait. Just put it in your mouth and taste it. The shell is even more brittle than expected. But there's still some residue that's uncomfortable. So let's cook it and make it taste good. Mike also prepared some plants to put in the pot. You can eat it with a little heat. How does it taste with bird eggs? Taste it as soon as it's done. It actually tastes okay. At least it can be swallowed. These are the only good eggs in a big pot. The challenge is on its 9th day. The body is getting weaker day by day. My muscles can't hold it. Can only hope on the trap. Too bad you didn't see anything but flies. Mike can only collect termites now. The size looks okay. Put it straight on the pan and grill it. It smells a little like beef. It tastes good. It'll make your tummy feel better. But the joy did not last long. Mike felt his kidney start to hurt. You drink enough water. He doesn't know what went wrong. Try to get some plants to cook and drink. I happen to know this herb works. Hopefully, it'll ease the pain. It's just too much of this can make your stomach hurt. With bad luck, the kidneys and stomach develop problems together. Mike had to swallow it. It must have had an effect. It just doesn't look right. Just call a doctor for safety reasons. Boy, you almost poisoned yourself. After a brief check, the doctor felt he was in no condition to continue the challenge. I hope we'll think about it. Mike knew better than to mess around. We'll just have to see if it gets better. I couldn't sleep at night because of the pain. You don't know how you made it to dawn. Mike knew his brother was with him. He told himself it was time to go home. We can't go on like this. There's no shame in challenging and failing, okay? You should be brave enough to admit your shortcomings. Mike thought about it for a long time. The challenge was already hard here. The partner left shortly after the opening. I finally decided to give up the challenge and go home. The show wasn't surprised by Mike's choice. They want to complete the challenge based on their ability. It was a little difficult. Mike doesn't think he has anything to say. Just want to get home and get some rest. If the partner doesn't have a health problem at the start, maybe they can work through it together. Make it to 21 days. Mike went to the tent for a detailed inspection. Then the result was unexpected. There's nothing wrong with him. Looks like he just wants to go home. The show crew didn't just provide food. I told him to rinse it out. Do you think this challenge is really that hard? Let's see what happens next. Have you ever seen one of these giant grasshoppers? Remove the head, and all you're left with is protein. Most people just set it on fire. And she likes to cook it slowly with a magnifying glass. This is said to produce the tastiest meat. Although I haven't tried to eat it. But look at the look on her face. How much better is it? So where did the beef come from? This time on a sand dune in Brazil. Matt's kind of enjoying his surroundings. He's a wilderness survival instructor himself. I think I can survive in the wild. I want to raise my profile through this challenge. Let more people find their classes. And his partner Laura is here for the first time. As an herbalist, she felt like she was surviving in the wild. Still has a nice advantage. Don't like others because of their beauty. And ignore their own efforts. Other than concerns about the environment and your partner. His father died a few days before the challenge. I've been struggling for a long time. I decided to continue the challenge. I hope to complete the challenge together with my father's expectation. Matt's side can't wait to meet his partner. That's no problem at all with nudity. He actually goes on a bike ride every year naked. I don't care what other people think. Laura was also prepared. I hope the partner is handsome. Stay together for at least 21 days and look good. Too bad the show didn't give her what she wanted. The two soon met at the rendezvous point. Laura didn't think he was strong. Worried he'd be a drag on the team. Matt didn't really care. How about we check the equipment first? Matt brought his own machete. I'm sure it's the sharpest one in the village. And Laura brought a magnifying glass. Matt was so confused about it. What good can this magnifying glass do? Next, they have to find water in the dunes, or you'll be trapped by the white sand around you. The weather that is changing quite quickly. There's a lot of little guys in the sand. It is not easy to find a suitable place to camp. Matt noticed that there were plenty of places around that looked good for camping. But when you get there, it's not good. The two were also walking until the sun went down. What good options are there right now? We'll have to make do down here. The biggest worry at night is the wind. The best thing is to build a wall of sand. At least you won't wake up with a mouthful of sand. Ideas are good, but underestimated the cold at night. They were shivering with cold. Plus there's ants crawling around. It's really not easy staying here all night. Finally came the next day. Laura felt like she was going to break down. Didn't sleep much all night. The state of mind is terrible. It's best to find a place with greenery. A little relief from the wind. The show crew had a pretty high opinion of them. I'm sure there's no problem completing the challenge. Don't think it won't get wet in the dunes. Laura was so sweaty she couldn't shed it. Walking on it is also particularly difficult. Fortunately, there were palm trees ahead. You could just pull it off and use it as a roof. And the ants on it can be eaten as a snack. Matt didn't realize his partner was so delicate. There's something to eat. She eats it for real. We have gathered enough material. Now let's think about water. Laura's carrying something. It's not a lie. It's just the way you start. I still worry about breaking down my body. I was going to start a fire. I didn't realize Laura said she had a magnifying glass. Just sterilize it with ultraviolet light. The whole thing only takes a few minutes. She thought it would be much easier than boiling water. The only problem is if there's no sunlight, it's over. Laura used to drink it out in the field, so there's a lot of confidence in that. Matt went back to gather materials for the shelter. Try to get an early break. What he didn't expect was this. Laura's side is lying down and falling asleep. Too much exposure to the sun can cause serious problems. He wasn't sure if it was heat stroke or just laziness. But Laura is not doing so well. It's better to rest in the shade. But Laura is stubborn. Make sure the water is ready before you go to rest. Matt didn't know what to say, did he? We have to get back to the shelter first. What's really wrong with Laura? Then we'll have to see a doctor. Matt alone gathers materials to build the shelter. I also collected some food to eat. It just takes more energy than you thought it would. And Laura didn't get any accidental sunburn. She is going to weave some clothes to protect her skin. I worked on it for hours, so there's no one to deal with the water. Matt was so thirsty. Just drink water from the lake. As for physical problems, I didn't have time to think about it. I just want my partner to push me. Before you know it, the third day has come. Matt doesn't feel like there's anything wrong with him. I'm just going to drink the water without treating it. Laura didn't agree. Still got to get rid of it. So I have to make it today before I give it to my partner. Matt was so speechless about it. I accidentally found a giant bug in the sand. Boy, that's a lot of stuff. It's going to be great on a barbecue. Matt didn't rush when he caught it. Tie it up and air dry. Laura thinks Matt's kind of lazy. Not as positive as you seem to be. She didn't expect to see food on her return. It's hard to start a fire in these conditions. Laura suggests roasting them in the sun. At least kill the bacteria on the surface. She ripped her head out. Try to bake the inside a little bit. The surface color has changed. It looks like a little lobster. It made Laura cry. Immediately put the cooked meat in your mouth. I wonder why it smells like grilled chicken. You want this? I can get 10 more. I thought it was going to be good. I didn't expect the sandstorm to hit. The challenge is on its 4th day. Laura had no idea it would be so hard. I was shivering with cold all night. It's impossible to sleep. The state of mind is getting worse every day. It's not enough on their own. And so it went for a few more days. The food they get is too little. The body is getting weaker day by day. The best thing is to catch some fish and eat it. I wouldn't have made it through 21 days. Laura wants Matt to collect some food. The partner, however, said he was a vegetarian. Why do you think he doesn't eat bugs? Boy, Matt's a recent vegetarian. How else could there be so much fat? It's not like he's wasting his energy collecting food for people. This really pissed Laura off. I can't wait to get my partner home. There was a violent quarrel between the two. The telegram was repeated one after another. Matt could only smile awkwardly. He didn't expect this from Laura. Laura cursed for so long. The partner didn't say anything back. This makes me very aggrieved. Relationships that are getting pretty awkward. The challenge is on its 8th day. Laura decided to split the shelter in two. She's going to do it all by herself. Matt didn't have a problem with that, did he? I don't want to fight anymore. She could do whatever she wants, okay. All Laura can think about right now is her resentment of her partner. There was no counteroffer at all. You act like you're being ridiculous. We just split up, and in the evening there was a rainstorm. Laura was in a state of mind that was a complete breakdown. The rain never stopped. It went on for 2 whole days before it stopped. The relationship between the two is getting worse and worse. No sense of working together at all. Matt decided it couldn't go on like this. He's going to dig a cave and rest. Laura was lost in longing for her father. She always thought there was nothing wrong with her. It's just hard being a partner. I hope my father can bless me to successfully complete the challenge. The challenge has come to the 12th day. They had not eaten for days. Laura's health is so weak. I really need food to fill my stomach. I don't have as much fat as Matt does. She wants to prove that she can survive alone. Put everything in your mouth when you touch it. Don't trust your partner to pull off the challenge. Matt also knows the importance of food. He insists on eating cactus every day. Not much energy is available, but it does keep my stomach stocked. The challenge came on day 12. Laura spends a lot of time foraging for food every day. You can imagine how much energy it takes. The state of mind is on the verge of collapse. Finally, on the 14th day, I couldn't stop crying. She doesn't even have the strength to walk. I'd love to go home now and get some meat on the hour. Skin can't tell you how many times it's burned. Matt knew his partner was going to die. I don't want to comfort what? Just let her lay on her stomach and vent. Laura didn't expect to be so hungry. I would have put on more weight if I'd known. The more I think about it, the worse it gets. The challenge came on day 15. It's only 6 days until it's over. But Laura was having a hard time. Every second of it is torture. His eyes are still twitching. The physical state is terrible. It's hard to even go out these days. Mostly, I haven't eaten for too long. The body lacks too many nutrients to sustain itself. All my muscles hurt like hell. Hand and leg cramps have long been a problem. Go on like this. I'm afraid she's going to have a barbecue with her father. Although Laura still has some strength to walk. But the mood is already broken. I managed to get my hands on a coconut. I hope you feel a little better after this. Otherwise, I really can't hold on. Laura eats coconuts. Even offered to ask Matt for a machete. Matt didn't expect this from his partner. Feels like a gust of wind could blow her away. He doesn't want to embarrass them. What? I hope Laura feels better after the coconut. This is probably the best coconut she's ever had in her life. If Matt's willing to lend himself a knife, proves he's not so bad after all. I'm willing to talk to Matt. We'll challenge current thinking. I told Matt everything. I feel wronged. It's obviously Matt's problem. Don't want to do anything. Just lay there until the challenge was over. I have to find food every day. But it can't keep up with consumption. I mean, that was a little harsh. Laura sincerely apologized to Matt. I hope we can work together to complete the challenge. Matt never really cared. now that Laura has offered to apologize. And Matt's willing to work with us. He knows exactly what Laura's in. It could go down at any moment. Well, I guess it's one day at a time. Laura couldn't be happier about it. The two hugged each other tightly. Hope you can continue to complete the challenge smoothly. Just when I thought they'd have a good life. Laura's body's not holding up on this side. Just like that, she was unconscious on the ground. Matt didn't expect anything like this to happen. This is really not scripted. Laura really was down and out. The doctor rushed to check it out immediately. It's worse than I thought. No response, no matter how much you call. We need to get to the hospital right away. Matt knows someone could go down. But when you actually see it, I was so nervous. I hope everything gets better. The show had to get them to the hospital immediately. Fortunately, it was detected early and simple treatment was carried out. Only Laura didn't wake up the whole trip. The director can only pray that the contestant is okay. After 3 hours of first aid, Laura finally regained consciousness and could walk. It must be impossible to continue the challenge. Laura still doesn't know what's going on. Looking at the unfamiliar surroundings, I thought I was dreaming. I felt worse after the fact. Didn't think it should have ended. Matt's challenge must continue. Only 4 days left. He's also heard from Laura. It's for the best when you're free. I did not expect to encounter such a thing. He was also worried that his body would suddenly give up. The challenge came on day 18. The surrounding area has been cleared of edible plants. Matt's mental state is getting worse and worse. Talking gibberish on camera. Seriously suspect he's starving. Before you know it, it's the last day. Matt survived on his own fat. Now head for the extraction point, 5 kilometers away. It doesn't look very far, but it's hard to walk on sand dunes. And it looks pretty much the same all around. If you go off course, you're screwed. Matt didn't forget to bring his magnifying glass. I don't know if he wants it, but if I get the chance, maybe we should just drop it off. Matt simply packed up and headed to his destination. Now, every step feels like a knife. If possible, I really don't want to walk here. Worse stomach that feels kind of gross. I can only take a short break every time I walk. But it soon came to the river. Just cross this water to the extraction point. The body is getting weaker and weaker. Matt was just trying to suck it up. I was so worried I was going to fall on the road. He didn't want to give up at the end. In my own head, I heard a helicopter above. This challenge is not an easy one. If Matt had to do it again, it is not always possible to successfully complete the challenge. After the challenge, Matt meets Laura. The two agreed to go on a wild adventure together. I don't know who else is going to do the challenge. Let's wait and see.